about the views of the top 1%. Well, it turns out that they feel really hurt, dog. They say, hey, you know what, man? We've been misunderstood. And the problem isn't them. It turns out the problem is the 99% and how much they don't appreciate the bankers. In fact, Jamie Dimon's up first. He's the CEO of JPMorgan Chase. He says, acting like everybody who's been successful is bad and because you're rich, you're bad? I don't understand it. Sometimes there's a bad apple, yet we denigrate the whole. How could we? Well, Jamie, I got news for you. It wasn't just one or two bad apples that caused the largest economic collapse in our lifetimes. It was all of you. The entire banking industry collapsed, causing a global recession. I wouldn't call that a few bad apples. I'd call the whole stinking crate of apples totally and utterly rotten. And he says, well, you're blaming me for being rich. No, Jamie, we're not blaming you for being rich. We never blame Steve Jobs or Bill Gates for being rich. We blame you for taking government money and getting rich off of our hides. So, for example, as you were saying, oh, we didn't want to take the money for the TARP. The government made us do it. In reality, we found out through another Bloomberg News article that you had been taking for your company $48 billion in basically interest-free loans, which then you turn around and made millions and perhaps billions off of because they were interest-free. You could take it at nearly 0% and lend it out to other people at 3, 4, 5 and higher percentages than that. In fact, the entire banking industry made $13 billion in free money off those interest-free loans. Well, I'd be rich and a genius too if you gave me a free $13 billion. But Jamie Dimon can't understand why, we're all upset about this. What gets worse, though, is when they organize and they do groups like the Job Creator Alliance, which is headed up by Home Depot co-founder Bernard Marcus. And this Job Creators Alliance, first of all, the name is already pisses me off. They're not job creators, okay? They just call themselves that. And gee, I wonder where the Republicans got that talking point. They want to do shape the national agenda. So they put out op-eds in different places. They obviously buy politicians, et cetera, so that they can continue to get those advantages from the government and then pretend that they're geniuses about it, right? So let me give you more quotes. It turns out John Allison IV, who's the director at BB&T Corporation, also has had his feelings hurt. He says, it still feels lonely, but the chorus has definitely increased. Oh, thanks God. So he says, it was lonely at the top, and it seemed like everybody was criticizing us, but now we've gotten together in places like the Job Creators Alliance and decided that, you know what, we'll just buy everybody and buy off Washington, and then we'll feel much better, and we already are feeling better because now there's more of us buying this entire corrupt system. He continues by saying, instead of an attack on the 1%, let's call it an attack on the very productive. This attack is destructive. No. John Allison IV. You know what was destructive? When you guys cratered the entire world economy. That was pretty destructive. You know what it cost us? 13 million jobs at the time. That was pretty destructive when your financial industry destroyed this economy. That was what was constructive about what you did? You moved money around, you made bets on derivatives, and then some suckers paid you off. That's us, the taxpayers, unfortunately, because you bought the politicians so you can get paid off. What the hell was constructive about that? And then you wonder why we're angry at you. You say, oh, there's nothing constructive about this. You shouldn't attack us, please. Here's Leon Cooperman, chairman of Omega Advisors Incorporated. He says, you'll get more out of me if you treat me with respect. Oh, I'm sorry, were we not respectful enough as we handed you billions of dollars in free money? Were we not respectful enough? He's like, how dare you? I'm in the 1%. Treat me with more respect. And maybe I'll give you the crumbs off my table. But look at the attitude. You'll get more from me if you treat me with respect. Well, obviously, I have everything, and I earned it. So, and the only reason I would ever give you anything is if you beg enough and you show me enough respect. Kneel, right? I don't think so. These guys are asking for trouble, man. Here comes Robert ROSENKRANZ. He's CEO of DELPHI Financial Group Incorporated. He says, it's simply a fact that pretty much all the private sector jobs in America are created by the decisions of the 1% to hire and invest. Except that is not a fact at all. It's something you just made up. In fact, the bankers in the top 1% destroyed 13 million jobs. And a lot of the jobs created in the U.S. are actually created from small businesses. Why? For example, a local diner has to hire people that are here. A local law firm that has to hire people that are here, right? Whereas the giant multinational corporations run by the top 1% offshore the jobs to India and China. So your facts are totally and utterly wrong. All these nonsense justifications. Here comes Robert Rosenkranz again. He says, since their confidence in the future, more than any other factor, will drive those decisions, it makes little sense to undermine their confidence by vilifying them. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we hurting your confidence, dog? Like, oh, man, I should give you a pep speech here. Okay. All right, Robert, man. All right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Come on, 1%. Create more jobs. Oh, you're the best. You're the best. I'll show you respect. Oh, Robert. Oh, you're the best. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Did that help? By the way, that's what our politicians have been doing for God knows how long. In reality, this is the last 30 years, certainly over the last 10 years. And what has it done? All it's done is lost us jobs, right? In the last 10 years, we lost 1 million jobs combined. We gave you all the tax cuts in the world. And a lot of these guys, they get to do the carried interest rule. They get to do dividends and capital gains. Almost all of their money is charged at only 15%. That's less than an average American pays in taxes. And they've got billions, right? But apparently that still was not respectful enough, and we didn't give them enough confidence because we vilified them once or twice. Please. Here comes Ken Langone, co-founder of Home Depot, another one of the guys who's one of the worst guys at this. And you could tell by his quote here. He says, quote, yeah, I'm a fat cat. I'm not ashamed. If you mean by fat cat that I've succeeded, yeah, then I'm a fat cat. I stand guilty of being a fat cat. Yeah, we got it, right? We know, right? But this is basically him saying, what are you going to do about it, man? I already bought the whole government. I don't give a damn what you 99% peasants think, okay? I'm Robert Langone. I'm Ken Langone. Do whatever I want. Okay, here's Stephen Schwarzman, CEO of Blackstone Group, which is, by the way, the largest private equity firm. Private equity is the most guilty of anything. You know, people talk about hedge funds all the time. Private equity are the guys who really get to do carried interest, which is no excuse whatsoever for their income being charged at 15% tax rate. And they buy politicians more than anyone else. He says, when they ask him about that, they say, hey, you're only paying 15%. He says, no, the problem isn't me. The problem is that the poor aren't paying enough taxes. You think, come on, he didn't say that, right? Here's the quote. You have to have skin in the game. I'm not saying how much people should do, but we should all be part of the system. So in other words, the problem is 47% of the country does not pay federal income taxes. Yes, they pay a much higher percentage of their income in sales taxes, in payroll taxes, but he says, no, the problem is the poor and the middle class aren't paying enough. Not that I'm paying less than them. These guys have no conscience. But if you think all that is bad, wait till you get a load of Tom GOLISANO. He's founder of PAYCHEX Incorporated. He says, quote, if I hear a politician use the term paying your fair share one more time, I'm going to vomit. How dare you ask the rich, the millionaires and the billionaires to pay their fair share? Oh, they'll vomit over that. You peasants, how could you possibly ask them to do that? How dare you? Well, when Bernard Marcus, the man I originally told you about, co-founder of Home Depot Incorporated and the creator of this nonsense group called Job Creators Alliance that goes around trying to influence Washington so they can continue to get bigger advantages, when they ask him about protesters who say, hey, you know what, this is an unfair system, here's what he says, quote, who gives a crap about some imbecile? Are you kidding me? This is their view of you. They took our taxpayer money, they got interest-free loans from the Fed, they made billions of dollars off of it, and then when you turn around and say, hey, wait, that seems a little unfair, they say, how dare you? Treat us with more respect. We think you're a bunch of imbeciles. We'll treat you with no respect, but we demand all the respect and we demand that you bow your head. I don't think so. I don't think so.